You're about to learn how to break into medical sales and become unforgettable while you do it. I'm Samuel, and this is Evolve Your Success. You've applied to 20, maybe 50, maybe even 100 job applications, and you get nothing. No callbacks, no interviews, just silence. Dead quiet radio silence. And it's not so much that you're doing it all wrong and you're just in the wrong place at the wrong time. You shouldn't even be in the space. It's that you're not following an effective strategy. So here are the top mistakes I see when it comes to people attempting to get into medical sales. Mistake number one. Most people treat job hunting like a numbers game. They spray their resume everywhere and they pray that it sticks somewhere. What you don't know, though, is that today it takes about 42 applications to land a single interview. And 2.4% of candidates ever reach the interview stage at all. So if you think about it, out of 100 cold applications, 2 to 3 are ever even looked at. So in other words, medical sales isn't about spraying and praying. Spraying and praying doesn't really work. It's not about just volume. It's about some volume, but being really precise. In medical sales, what's going to give you the real advantage is knowing what specialty your skills, your background actually fit, being able to speak powerfully to that specialty, connect the dots as far as why it makes sense for you to transition from what you were doing to what this requires, and making that case. That's what's going to set you apart. That's what's going to get you further when it comes to actually landing an interview and then getting far in the interview process. Mistake number two. Your resume might be solid, but if it doesn't clearly speak medical sales language, it won't get you to the interview stage. Less than 3% of resumes actually land in an interview. And on top of that, 75% of resumes that are sent in get canned by the ATS system. Hiring managers want to see results, transferable skills, and a backstory that screams, I'm ready to hit the ground running. If your resume is not tailored to showcase this, odds are you're not even being considered. Most resumes just are lists that tell someone very little. In fact, most resumes just tell people what they've been doing in a very list-oriented way. They don't highlight the results, they don't leverage the impact, and they don't scream that story that says, if you put me in today, I'm going to blow you away. Okay, mistake number three. This one's big. Spending all your times on job boards. Yes, I'm talking about job boards. It's not so much that job boards are a terrible place to go, but the reality is about 60% of jobs, especially in medical sales, maybe even 70% in medical sales, are done through networking, right? So, which means 30% are coming from job boards. And I'll just be really frank with you. A lot of these positions on job boards are old because no one is spending their time updating job boards. They're spending their time updating their own websites and internally. And they're so busy with the influx from the initial posting that by the time they're updating a job board, that position is long gone. So that's one of the big contributors to why a lot doesn't happen on job boards. And on top of that, job boards is tertiary. I didn't even say secondary, tertiary, meaning it's kind of like the last place that hiring managers and recruiters are going to. So again, you want to be focused on the networking piece. Now, in this day and age, it's not, I'd like to believe that it's not unknown that networking gets you somewhere. I think the caveat is people don't really understand what that means, right? Networking does not mean spending hours on LinkedIn asking people to refer you for a job, right? Networking means developing relationships with value-based messaging, okay? So value-based content and expression and questions between someone that's very, very busy and that's out of the kindness of their heart giving you a moment to have a conversation, showcasing value to that person so that they want to spend more time with you and potentially connect you to someone who can actually make a decision. That's networking, and that takes strategy within itself. So again, it's not about the job boards. It's not about just asking people to do things for you. It's about value-based messaging, developing real connection, developing real relationships, and then, of course, leveraging that for an ask that's warranted that gets you in front of a decision maker. Mistake number 4, winging the interview. Yes, we have to talk about this. So you got to know this. 20% of candidates even get an interview. So that's a low number. 2% get to the second stage of an interview. What does that mean? If only 1 out of 5 people get an interview, this is after your resume did what it's supposed to do, and less than 2% get to the second stage, everything rides on the first impression. And when it comes to medical sales, it makes 0 sense to wing anything. It just doesn't make any sense at all. Here's what hiring managers are trying to evaluate when you're inside the interview. Everybody knows you need a 30, 60, 90. I'm sure you've heard that to death, but why do you need a 30, 60, 90? Hiring managers want to understand and believe that you know the territory you're going to be jumping into. Now, you're new. Maybe you're new to the space. Maybe you've never been in medical sales. You've never done anything like this. You're a nurse, or you're a college student, or you're a business admin professional that's trying to make a transition. But you got to make the case that you took the time to understand what you're about to get yourself into and learn what's required in the territory you're claiming you want to own or be a part of. And when a hiring manager sees that in the interview process, and you communicate that powerfully, all the other people that are applying for that same job are going to be put secondary. It's an obvious thing. And then in addition to that, hiring managers want to believe that the common situations that happen in these positions, do you know what it takes to handle them? Now, it's not enough to go in there and say, I can do this and I can handle that kind of situation. That's great, but guess what? I don't know you as a hiring manager, so that is your opinion. But it does mean something when you can say, situations like this often happen in this space. These are situations that I deal with where I am at right now that reflect what that looks like, and this is how I handle it. Now you're just telling the facts. And me, the hiring manager, is making the connection between, wow, that's a lot. That sounds a lot like what I have my reps deal with normally. This person really understands this, and they deal with it on a daily basis. I trust that if I put them in a role that I have, they might be able to deliver. And that's the best chance you can get. So what are we really talking about here? Take the time. Take the time to understand what's required in the role. Take the time to understand what the territory itself that you want to be a part of requires. And take the time to be able to back up powerfully why you believe you can do what this role has to do on a daily basis. You can do all that in the first interview. And that's what's going to get you where you need to be. You can do all that in the first interview. And that's what's going to get you to the second stage. And that 2%, you are now part of that 2% that got the second interview. So if you've been doing everything you think you know how to do and you're not getting any traction, it's not so much about you need to work harder. It's about you need to work smarter. And that is the reason why we created the Medical Sales Career Builder program. In that program, we show you how to get the right specialty, to pick the right specialty for you. We show you how to build a powerful story that supports why you should be in that space. We teach you a strategy that gets you actual job traction. And then, of course, we teach you exactly and show you exactly how to crush every single interview you come across. And we don't just teach you and show you. We work with you until you actually get the job. Hence the reason why we have a 94% success rate. So if you're serious about breaking into medical sales and you're finally ready to make something happen, comment the word program and I'll show you how to start.